Check. 1, 2, 3.
Perfect.
ABC.
Perfect. And we're in.
Tell you a little story about a man named Jed. Old mountaineer, Billy kept his family fed. Well, then one day he was shooting at some food, and up through the ground came a bubbling crude. Gold, that is. Black gold, Texas tea. So here we are again then, eh?
Here we are again.
LA's my kind of town, I just love it. The Hispanic vibe, the mountains, the beautiful houses, etc. Yeah, it's noisy, but I love LA. It's one of my favourite cities. I'm excited to be here. I'm staying in Beverly Hills. Tonight I'll be staying in Sherman Oaks, and can't get better than that.
Yeah, guys. Yeah, buddy.
What's up, Santos?
Hey, dude.
Good to see you, brother.
Yeah.
What's happening?
Not much, man. I just got here.
You're first. You must be Aryan.
Yeah.
Oh, they're all.
They were actually here
I
first.
was saying you're first. You
Yeah.
must be Aryan. Remember. The beautiful one. Yeah. You're looking good. Jesus looking like.
Hi.
This is Julie. She was at your.
My name's Kevin.
Kevin. Another Kevin.
Yeah,
another
he's Kevin.
KK.
The further you dig in, the more you find out, and then you find, people like Santos that sort of helps connect all those dots.
Nice.
Yeah.
How long have you been following Santos?
Probably 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
quietly. This is the first time I've Skyped with Santos a couple times and done some readings and stuff like that, but this is the first time I've met him in person.
Nice.
So it's an amazing experience.
What do you think of the space so far?
Fantastic. Yeah, you guys did a great job.
It's a beautiful day. It is Aquarius, and the blossoms are out. Everywhere there are beautiful homes, lots of beautiful people as well. And we're about to go to Eddie Bravo's studio around the corner and do an interview, so that'll be good. You're going to join us. And then on Sunday we have the All Is Atum presentation in Burbank, Los Angeles, California. Be there or be square. So now it's February 20th, 2222, 8 transformation. And I do have to say, because last time I was looking really tired on the last bit when you took me to LAX.
Yeah.
And some of the comments reflected that. And I have to say this time I didn't get a wink of sleep last night.
Really?
After the
Yeah, that was late. That was a late one.
Amazing. This is getting better. Yes. Come on in.
Oh.
Damn.
What's going on?
Here we are.
Yes.
Better.
Check it out. We already have viewers watching. Super. We're live right now.
Oh,
I'm gonna tell you. We're gonna virtual right now.
Hey, Logan.
Nice to meet you.
What's your birthday?
Hi.
First of September.
Seven?
Santos, ladies and
Oh shit.
Kevin, nice to meet you. Sorry, you're on camera.
Brother.
Yes. Go ahead, and we're live right now. This is the main area. You can go to full screen, full background.
We're both going red with a hood.
there you go. Yeah, red with the hood. Yeah, we both in.
What's up, man?
Peace.
Yeah.
What's up, man?
Logan.
All right, whatever.
Go ahead.
If everything's cool, I want to ask you this question live.
Okay.
And like you heard it the first time. This is what he says, man. Hey, I've got a track I'm working on with an open space for another verse. What are the chances of you passing it on to Killer Priest and asking him if he'd be interested in putting a short verse on it?
No problem, bro.
Oh, dude!
No
My
problem.
son's gonna be so happy. He's
No problem. Yeah. Santos.
Thank you, bro.
That's how we feel. We feel that way when you have you here.
Thank you.
Honored, man.
Hey, obviously, we're live right now. We got 101 viewers.
Oh, you're
Watching
kidding.
right now. So this is what they see.
Nice.
So you can see what they see. This is kind of a teleprompter right here. Yep. And
Long live Syncretism, fans.
I'm gonna adjust this like this.
It was amazing too because wasn't you the first one to put me up on? Like
I did. I introduced priests to Santos' work. We were talking astrology.
Yeah.
Now
It's right above you in the deck, man. 10 of clubs, it's right above the queen of clubs.
All right. What's 10 of clubs?
That's the top of the crown line, bro. He's
What,
the top.
what do they do though? What's their
Atlas, man, holds the world up on their shoulders.
Right.
Holds a lot of burden, a lot of responsibility, but does it with ease.
Yeah.
Because it's the
Yes,
jacket
well,
that's on the chessboard.
since priest is a Leo, of course the lion.
Of course.
But his moon is in Aquarius.
Nice.
So in the heart, he's in outer space.
That's the
As you
opposite.
already know, right?
That's in the opposite end of Leo.
We got the outer space going on here.
Oh man, yeah.
Nice.
Santos is about to
Yes.
take us there, man.
Right.
So we're set. Let me
I know I'm looking tired, and that's going to happen when you're a week in Los Angeles and you're doing presentations and podcasts left, right, and centre. So I just thought I'd throw that in there for any of the lovely viewers who might think certain things. I'm very, very exhausted. But anyway, about to fly to Mexico today. Last time was Costa Rica. This time I'm going to Mexico, the city of, to do a presentation in Spanish for the whole weekend. I think it's 14 hours. So I hope tomorrow, Friday, will be a good sleepy rest day. And catch up on some rest. But everything was wonderful. Los Angeles is the most beautiful city for me. It's exquisite. Even better than last time. I stayed in Beverly Hills this time. Interesting that the beautiful people who hosted me, they have two homes, one in Sherman Oaks. I'm just looking at a most beautiful, beautiful house up there. That'd be a very, very rich movie star up there.
Mm-hmm.
What is this? Beverly Boulevard? Okay.
Beverly Drive and
Beverly Drive.
Coldwater Canyon.
Yeah, man. And so the folks I stayed with, they owned the house that was owned by Britney Spears in Beverly Hills. And then the other one in Sherman Oaks was owned by James Coburn. So it's interesting. It's really kind of weird for me, you know, to experience that.
It is very strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
What are the chances of that?
I know.
Like someone so polarizing and what famous as Britney Spears that just happens that the people that you know end up living in her old house. It's just
Fascinating.
surreal.
I followed Britney Spears as well in 2001 when I did the Bill Gates gig for Comdex.
Yeah.
She played the night before on the same stage, so I remember that. Of course you would. And now I followed her again, you know, to the house that she used to live in. And it's actually where she went and did that Masonic crazy thing where she cut her hair and everything. That was the house.
That was there. That was like what, 2007 or something?
Yeah,
Yeah, around
something
then.
like that. Man, oh man, the houses are staggering to say the least. And the beauty, the streets are clean, the trees are so beautiful, palms everywhere. It's absolutely intoxicating for me. I love great architecture, I love beautiful homes. I believe everybody should have one. There shouldn't be homeless people. And LA is a statement to the fact that this world is truly naturally beautiful, and the human touch. The Beverly Hills Hotel, there you go.
Yeah.
Right, just so that people know where we are as we're talking. This is just intoxicating. But I like the stopping system here in America, where everybody stops and then they just, whoever got there first goes. It makes sense, you know.
It's not like that in Australia?
Not really, no.
Really?
There's always a lane that has.
I can't remember. Oh, there's all the there's like roundabouts.
Roundabouts.
Yeah, so there's not stop signs. There's circles everywhere.
That's right.
Where you kind of just you bypass the other way. You bypass the other side.
Yeah.
I definitely remember that.
Right. So here,
it's a pretty good system, but I prefer the Australian way, where one road has always the way, and then everybody else has to stop. You know, so you've got major roads. You do have this as well here, but there's a lot of intersections where everybody has to stop. Look at this. This happens a lot in America, doesn't it?
Yeah. People kind of make their own rules.
There you go. Just doing a 3-point turn right in front of us. Couldn't wait. There's nothing behind us. Couldn't wait.
Yeah.
It's incredible how people just...
It's like that here, man.
It is.
He's a kid. You see his
Oh, is he?
face. Yeah. It's probably like...
Might be confused. That's fine. At least he didn't hurt anybody or himself. So, what to talk about? Well, I'd love to talk about the great podcast, the one with Eddie Bravo and Sam Tripoli.
Yeah, that one's good, man. I've listened to it a few times now.
Yeah.
No rush at all. Yeah, no rush at all. So, yeah, we'll see you soon, man. All right, bye.
Who's that?
Yeah, it was Eddie Bravo. He's on his way. So.
Nice. Sounds good, man.
Yeah. Exciting.
Whenever the interviewers are good, you meet them at their level of excitement.
Yeah.
If they're bored and they just want to do a show because they want numbers and they want to interview you because my viewers want you, and they don't. It's you can feel it. And so with Eddie Bravo, he's a great truther, and I think he was. He's been really diligent in studying, being the fighter that he is. And Sam surprised me, like he was really enthusiastic.
Yeah.
And he really fired me up. And all the other guys, the producers in there, they were all great guys, and they really loved the content.
We could have apps that are geared to telling us when to take advantage of the energies to do this, to buy, to sell, to eat, to drink, to make love, to win a tournament, etc. Tailored to our details. Whereas, well, we do have lots of astrologers out there who will do podcasts every day on the aspects. They call it the aspects. So they'll tell you, oh, Mars is going to be conjunct Mercury retrograding in Capricorn today. Be careful what you say, blah, blah, blah. And that's just universal. That's universal, the aspects for the day. What about tailor-making something to each one of us? We could all be living a lot happier. You know, there could be an app that tells us today you want to go and, hang out with your friends because you will be successful, or they will give you money, they will give you a place to stay, they will, whatever, And you can type in, I guess, what your current situation is. I'm homeless, or I need some money, or I don't have a job, right? Well, it'll get busy telling you, right, well, hang in there in 3 weeks' time, at this such and such an hour, look for a job and you'll find it, whatever. Because that's how it does work.
Yeah, right.
Think about it, right? How many things that weren't planned happen to us in our lives that turn our lives around? Like me on the 13th of October. That changed my life. Some guy tried to kill me, right? He ended up dead. So that's a biggie. It was in the stars. When I went back to check my aspects, I thought, well, that was already said. Why wasn't I warned? Well, we haven't got an app. There's not an app talking to me saying, watch out, Sunday morning is very, very dangerous, dude. Be careful. Okay, so that app can warn you. That app can give you information to protect you and make you a lot more wise in your life. Eddie, how are you, brother?
Call Sam Tripoli.
Calling Sam Tripoli. Mobile.
We're in the building. We're like where the cafeteria thing is. Okay. This is where they have quinceañeras.
Yeah.
You know what that is?
No. Quinceañera?
Yeah. You know what a quinceañera is?
No.
It's a sweet 16, but for Mexicans. But we do it when we're 15. Okay. We do quinceañera. Quince is 15.
Quince? Yes, of course.
Yeah, quinceañera. It's like.
Resort to your life.
A little bit. What nationality are you?
Italian. But I've been speaking Spanish all my life.
Yeah, like Javier both times.
Is that it over there?
Interesting. This is like a church that's been redone.
Is this a church?
Yeah.
It used to be a church? It's still a church?
Still is?
Nice. Nice.
That's awesome.
How's it going?
What's up, man?
How are you?
Thank you.
Look at this. Is this perfect?
So, I mean, when do you want to put this out? Today, or I think we'll get more if we put it out on Monday, but it's up to you guys.
Doesn't matter to me.
Well,
The sooner the better for us, but it's
Okay, we'll put it out
on
today.
you guys,
We'll put it out today.
It's on you guys.
We'll put it out today. We'll bang it out.
Today's better because you got something going on this weekend, right?
Sunday.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
we'll
put
put
it
it
out,
out
yeah.
today.
awesome.
Nice.
What do you have going on?
Presentation called All Is Atom.
We'll talk about.
Yeah, we'll get
We'll talk
into
about
that.
Yeah, for sure.
And what day is that? On Sunday?
Sunday at 11. Starts at 11.
11 in the morning, and okay, perfect.
Till 4.
11 to 4, yeah.
All right, man.
Restrictive. Jupiters are hot and moist. So to answer your question, Eddie, because I know this is a very important one before we go on. Yes, there were. And there would have been someone that was a standout named Jesus, because the Essenes, think about it, the Essenes and the Therapeutai, they were there in the Middle East hundreds of years before the Romans tell us that Jesus incarnated. And they were worshipping a guy called Esa.
Kind of. We need an asteroid tax, right?
Exactly. Give us some money, we'll stop it. We've got the technology.
Yeah.
Right?
So they're saying there's aliens, so if there's other aliens, we're significant.
Are there aliens?
Well, it depends what you call alien. In Bhagavad Gita, they tell you that the demonic entities that have been under the earth, there are 7 more planets that are discs.
What?
Yeah.
The dimensions.
In the 5th
7
count,
flat worlds?
pretty much. Yes, 7.
Like a
levels.
book.
So
Like
that's,
paper.
that's where hollow theory and flat Earth
Yes,
collide.
exactly. Or no, syncretize.
Yeah.
I've syncretized it in all my countless flat Earth videos that I've been making since 2015. I was one of the first ones that jumped on the flat Earth. And when you went to Google and put flat Earth in, guess who was #1 for 2 years in a row between 2016 and 2016?
More than Eric
Yours
Dubay.
truly.
My
Yeah,
man!
me.
And I've had about 10,000 hits in the last, since I put it up 2 or 3 days ago. So it's a 3-hour vid, and that's pretty impeccable. That's pretty good. I don't get any monetization off it because it's probably too commercial, and they must have put some music in there. I couldn't be bothered fighting it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I've got a lot of vids that aren't monetized or limited, especially the ones on raising the chrism. I wonder why.
Huh, interesting.
Whenever you talk about white tantra and raising the chrism and being Christ-like, you can't make money out of that. But if you talk about anything else, you know, there's jokers out there with all sorts of silly content, making millions of dollars. But never mind, our world is coming, Kevin. Our world of truth and righteousness and fairness, it's coming, and I feel it coming. I don't know about you, but LA has really turned it on for me. I've been here a week. It's probably one of the best weeks I've ever had in my life. The amount of people that have come to present themselves to me and Syncretism, to offer their services and just to be part of it. I mean, we had how many at the presentation on Sunday?
It was like 50 plus, something like that.
Yeah, it was full.
Yeah, it was a full room, yeah.
They were real good, solid students, and a good portion of them had been following Syncretism since 2011, 2012, so I'm really, really happy with that. Very impressed. So when we come back in April, hopefully we'll do another one.
Do another one, yeah.
Yeah. But the presentation was incredible. David will have that up whenever he's ready. So he's editing that at the moment, I believe. He was talking about that to me this morning.
Oh yeah, really? Nice.
But I think the real highlight and the unexpected one was, but two actually, was the podcast with Killer Priest and Eddie Bravo. So it turns out that my son was so excited when I told him that I'm hanging out with Killer Priest and I'm going to go on his podcast, and so he asked me to ask him to do a track for him. He said, I've got a track on a new song I'm producing, and there's one track free. Can you ask him if you'd like to do it? And I did that live on the podcast while I was talking to my son. Well, after. Sorry, I did that before I was talking to him. And he said, yeah, live on the show. And so he asked me to ask my son to send the file so that they can record it here in LA. And then I put my son on the phone, and you heard that. He was excited. And then he sent me a message, and he said, oh yeah, look, I'll read the message of my son's, because this is important. My son's been doing rap since, I think, 13, 14. He's now 27, 28. And he's producing it down in Melbourne. He's got a lot of respect, and a lot of artists are going to him now. He's got a label, decent company.
Yeah, it was when we listened to it last night, I was impressed, man. It was good.
Yeah. So this is what he says. Sorry, you got me by surprise with that phone call, man. You're kicking it with one of my biggest influences ever, lyrically. Mind as a Weapon, still one of my favorite joints of all time. Before I developed my own style, I learned rapping from a very few number of rappers. Killer Priest was one of them. Man, that's crazy. Bless. And my son doesn't go around giving compliments like I do as much. You know, he's very cool, Libran, Saturnian. He's very cool, you know, like, and he'll just probably say, I liked it, or something like that. That was 3 sentences.
Yeah.
So that would be a solid 15 years, nearly 2 decades of him following this guy, and then finally he gets to meet him and talk to him on the phone. So I was pretty happy with that. He also watched my son's vid and liked it very much, but I was very, very impressed with Priest's music, man.
Yeah.
That is some classy rap. He is no, slouch. Do you use that expression? He's no slouch?
Slouch, yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, so he's not he's not just anybody when it comes to rapping. And I learned from AD, the producer, last night, that rap means rhythm and poetry. So that also made me feel good, because rap does not get a good rap, pardon the pun.
Yeah.
And supposedly the rap artists are, just bums and druggies and, sleaze bags and what have you. But no, they're not. My son's not. He's a dignified guy, and he's serious, about life and his goals, and pursues them quite in an organised fashion, and gets a lot of respect. He's always had a lot of friends, my son, and the quality of his friends is just absolutely exquisite. He's very careful who he brings into his friends. There's way more than I've ever had when I was growing up, and better ones. I used to attract bad ones, and I didn't really use my discretion and intuition, and just allowed all kinds of people until I found that they burned me or whatever. So I see how he's much more discriminating, and he's doing well. I love his friends, and they love me. When we hang out, we're all like just hanging out like we're buddies. So it was good to get all that truth out as well. Priest was very, very syncretic. He's very biblical and scriptural. His lyrics are serious. Some of the questions were great. It's unfortunate that we had to follow the woman that was there. She was a stripper.
I was. Did you get a chance to see her?
I did. It was very provocative.
Yeah, I wasn't. Yeah, when we first walked in, I was like, "What's going on?" And I saw the video. I was like, "Okay, all right,
that's cool." I mean,
whatever.
Everybody wants to get their name and get their product out there. I guess that was what was going on, and I don't care what they do in their private time. I mean, if they're interested in syncretism and they've got a platform for syncretism, I'll be there. I respect that he's a truther, etc. And I would always be inclined to be to do presentations and interviews with more discriminating people that generally just have truthers on their channel and serious research rather than just dancing girls who want to show their booty and stuff like that. But that's cool. She was a.
But that's something we had no. I mean, there's no way to know that. It is what it is. You can look at the bright side of it and be like, well, as soon as you came in, everything, the whole vibe changed. And that's kind of the idea with me filming you in a cafe or you coming into LA. It just immediately shifts the perspective for people.
Yeah,
because when they start listening to the message, it resonates.
Yeah,
it changes the frequency.
It does
of the room.
It's powerful. It's very, very powerful. The truth, when spoken correctly.
Yeah, I think about this daily. I meditate on that daily. Like, I'll flip, to a different radio station, and I'll just hear news, and it just sounds like noise. These talking heads they're reading something. Nothing. It just doesn't. There's a different frequency to it.
I know. I would say it's like contrived and artificial. It's so sad because people think that that's the way you're supposed to talk, and so they go to school and get educated and try to speak like these famous people. Little do they know that these are mostly, empty-headed people who just sell their souls for their work and toe the putty line, whether it's telling lies or truth. They don't really care.
They don't really care, and they don't really know either.
Yeah,
that's a big part, isn't it?
Yep.
Sometimes it's too hard to know if what you're reporting is true or not.
I've got no idea.
You have no idea.
Yeah, they're not real reporters anymore. They're just like entertainers. So it's quite sad, really, for people like me who love the truth and want to get it out there. But it is what it is. So just let it go.
Yeah, I think it's a frequency thing for people who aren't in tune with what you're speaking. They'll listen to it, and it'll take them a while to tune into the frequency, to tune into what you're saying, because they're so used to this different frequency. So they're at a lower frequency, and they're trying to tune into higher, and so it scrambles them. And that's what happens to everyone when they start tuning into a higher frequency. It messes with your head, with your programming.
For sure.
Other things the programming doesn't work anymore. But I'm not mad about it.
Yep.
I think that that's a level. There's a level where you get mad. You're like, oh, why? And you're like, and you dismiss everything. And you don't want to watch it. But I think Logan talks about that a lot, where it's like, just, no, see both sides. It is things, see things for what they are, but just continue on your course. Continue on your level up, you know, keep going, but don't let these noises over here get in your way, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's a common thing for everyone when they get into this space, is how far do I go?
And that's Logan from Decoding Your Reality YouTube channel, by the way. I've been staying with his friends who invited me to stay at their Beverly Hills home. And Logan stays in the Sherman Oaks home, and he was a superstar. He was really helpful. He was always there for me, driving me around, taking me to places, making sure I was well fed, making sure I had everything I needed. And so was Jeff and Gabby, his friends who hosted me.
There's a lot of knowledge lies about. Yeah. First time I've ever met anybody with my design, because my design is usually more generation 8.
Stra,
So the cross that the Christ, which is the alphabet, it dies on, is crucified at the end. Wow. The letter T. From Aleph to Tav. Brilliant. And the 4 letters are Kaf, Resh, Shin, Tav. Christ. Just like in English.
Yeah.
Christus. Q-R-S-T-U, all in a row.
Yeah.
Hiding in the alphabet.
Wow.
And the first letters A, B, C, D is abracadabra. And then in the middle, the letter M, the 13th and middle letter is L-M-N, lumen. Ooh. So you've got abracadabra at the start of the alphabet, A, B, C, D. Abkadefki.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Sesame Street. Then in the middle, the M, you've got LMN. Next thing you know, old Jed's a millionaire. Ken folks said, Jed, move away from there. Said California is the place you ought to be. So they loaded up their truck and they moved to Beverly Hills, that is. Movie stars, swimming pools. I forget the third verse, but
I'm old enough to have watched my reruns of that.
yeah, I used to love that show, man.
My dad would always have that on in the morning, man.
I was blessed by great people that are coming forward, like yourself, that know how to do things like filmmaking, book writing, and production, that are syncretists and want to advance syncretism. So I'll be coming back in April and talking more about it, I guess, because there's a lot of work to be done, and we'll probably plan a tour. I'll probably do a GoFundMe for everybody that's joining with syncretism, like yourself, so that we can also do it and be sustained by it, rather than doing what you're doing, which is waiting for an acting gig. Yeah. And Uber driving in the meantime. And that's just not, it's not really cutting it, really. When you know syncretism and you can do stuff, why not devote yourself to that where it can sustain you as well? So I'm saying this for the listeners, anyone out there who is able to help, I guess, with technical stuff or even financial. Eventually I'll be making it known that what the next step is for syncretism. Obviously I've got to go out of the country. Tomorrow's the last day on my visa, and then I can come back until July. My ESTA visa goes till about the end of July. So this going out and coming back, it's a little bit tough on me, but I enjoy it. It's exciting. I mean, I get to go and
you just go to Mexico. That's awesome.
Yeah, and do a presentation and film it and put it online for all the Spanish-speaking people who are demanding it, by the way. Yeah, I really want to talk about where syncretism is going. It's definitely going somewhere. The amount of people that turned up and showed appreciation and gratitude was staggering. San Francisco was great. Sacramento was great. Portland, Montague. Where else did I? Didn't do anything in Eugene. I've been staying there a lot.
You were in Miami.
Oh, Miami, that's the one. Yeah, Miami was really good. But small crowds. I mean, I don't know how many people said they were coming, and not even half of those people turned up in Miami. So, but here, everyone that said they were coming and bought tickets turned up and more. So it was different. Maybe it was better advertising. We only had a very, very, very sort of a cheap, poorly presented flyer for the Miami one. But I think the content there was really good because it complemented the one in Los Angeles here in Burbank. That one was called Etymology, the true and original universal language. And this one was called All is Atum.
Yeah.
So I'm really labouring the point with All is Atum and etymology, because etymology is a thing. You can look it up on Wikipedia. It tells you what it is. It's the science of atoms, you know, and that everything is atomic. Well, I've taken it a step further, way further, and I've taken the Egyptians for their word. When they said all is atum, they really meant it. And what I did was I tried to, show that all is atum. Atum is the human being, atum is the solar system, atum is the earth, atum is the universe, atum is an atom, atum is a tree and trees, dendrites and dendros. Atum is light, atum is sound, atum is God. It is numbers and letters, all of them. It's the source of all things, all thoughts. It's the cause of all things as well, not just the source. It causes, and it's also the effect. The effect comes through its two, I call twins, twin children. Redshift, blueshift, electrical force. So I would say Atum is magnetism, the field, and its two children, Taurus and Bull, the Taurus field and the hyperbola, redshift, blueshift, respectively. Taur is red, rot is red, rotate, rotating, redshift, right turning, divergent, centrifugal energy. Blue shift is left turning, centripetal, converging, left turning energy. And that's what atoms do. You know, when they look at an atom under the microscope or the electron, what they're seeing, they see a cloud. They call it a cloud. They call that the electron, and it's just like a cloud. It's going so fast that it's cloudy. Well, no, that's all the lines of force of magnetism, which are electrons and protons, not just electrons. And a proton, thank you, Walter Russell, is one half of electrical force. So it's no use saying that all those are just electrons there, because they're not. They're electrons and protons, because the proton is radiation, and the electron is gravitation. So gravitation goes in like this in the vortex, spiraling inwardly, left turning, and radiation is going like that. Radiation, gravitation. And so you've got these two vortices of energy. It's always two, it's never one. Energy does not express itself as a oneness. It comes from oneness. Energy is always first and foremostly two. Two vibrations which come out of the steel pond, pool, field of dielectricity. And so you can look at it like a computer screen. The earth is like a computer screen. It's a theatre. And we've all got atoms. And these atoms are dancing around and making various forms and doing various things, building homes, singing songs, etc. Doing all sorts of activity. And where does it all come from? Well, it comes from counter space. Every wave, every frequency which looks real, solid, and durable is not. And it comes from what is not seen. The Bible says that. I think the scriptures in Hebrews where it says, we have come to know that all things seen by the power and the word of God and the command of God come forth from things which are not seen. The Bible's an amazing scientific book, but when they call it a scientific book, they really don't know what they're saying. It's speaking about one thing and one and only thing. Magnetism. God. Many people will stumble when you say that because they see magnetism as just an unconscious energy. Whereas it's not. It has order, it has rules and laws, and it always obeys those laws. The torus field is always doing this, looping, reciprocating and precessing. So the reciprocation is this, round and round, goes in your fontanelle, out your perineum. Blue shift here, top of the torso, red shift at the bottom of the torso. And round it goes, looping in the pool, in the pond, in the field. And the field is in your heart. The computer's the same. The theatre is on the screen. And where does all that beautiful imagery on your computer come from? Well, it comes from a file which is delivered by the RAM. And that file is full of information, but it's empty. If you consider it in the time-space way, in the temporospatial paradigm, you will find that they do not occupy any space. They are zeros and ones. They are just information and energy. And it's almost like as if those files were conscious. And when you open the files by command of your finger, open, it's like open sesame. It's so powerful. And all of this information comes out, And where does it come from? Does it occupy any space? Does it weigh anything? Well, no. It's like your thoughts and emotions. They don't occupy any space in your body, although they are felt in your body. But they come from counter space. And how do we know that? Well, because no matter how much you go looking for thoughts and emotions in the organs of your biology, you will not find them in a physical way. This is what's going on with your computer. You call it a reboot. You hardly ever hear people say boot your computer. Well, they do. But usually they say reboot your computer. It's the more common expression. Because you're doing it repeatedly. And it's the same with lives. Even though we forget from one day to another, the computer doesn't necessarily do any thinking. It doesn't do any judging. I mean, you can do anything on a computer that you want, right? You can sit there, you can watch porn on it if you want. The computer's not going to tell you, oh, you're a naughty boy. You don't be doing that. You can be writing nasty emails or messages to people on Facebook or something. The computer's not going to judge you. And that's the same with God, the field. The field is there. You can do whatever you want in the field. That jet looks massive, didn't it? Did you notice that jet?
Yeah. It's
man, oh man, that was
probably an Airbus A380.
Magnetism's virtually harmless. There are ways that it can hurt you, especially when it's mechanical, but other than that, it can't hurt you. The field of magnets, I use biomagnetic magnets from Dr. Garcia daily, and you can put the magnet up against your skin or your organs. You don't feel anything, but you do actually feel better. You feel a healing, but you don't actually feel something, pushing or pulling as magnets do to each other, repelling and attracting. So it's clear then that this force is intelligent and conscious because it's able to heal. It's a big mistake to think that force and anything else outside of your brain is unconscious. Even this car we're driving in has a certain amount of consciousness because the atoms that it's made of are light atoms, and light is conscious. So it does have a kind of a soul. You know, this is why people name their cars, you know, Betsy and Bruce or whatever, and all these funny names, because they get to know the personality and the traits of the car, and they get acquainted with it, you know. And especially these one car owners, or one owner cars. Interesting slip. You know, their cars are more integral. You know, they have more of a feedback loop that's reliable and true with their car. Whereas, you know, like the company car, it doesn't know whether it's Arthur or Martha because it has all different kinds of people driving it and using it, and so the car doesn't get used to an individual, and it doesn't stay true to its personality. Every car has a personality, you know. People who are good with mechanics and love cars, they know that, they feel that. It sounds crazy talking like this, but when you think about it, it's undeniable. And so the same is with magnetism. Everything in the car operates mostly on magnetism. That's what your alternator's doing, your distributor, your electronics here, all these lights. It's all magnetic. It's all electric. And to a certain degree, those currents of electricity, they are actually conscious. They are thinking. And so this is why the analogy of the car is another good analogy. You know, when you look after your car, the car will look after you. So a guy who's into cars, even a woman, of course, they know that the best car would be one that's had the least owners, right? So
yeah,
you don't want to be getting a car that's done 700,000 miles and it's had countless owners. You know, you just sort of like, is there anything else? Is there something that's been loved more? Is there something? And the same with pets. You know, you imagine a dog that goes from owner to owner to owner. Dogs usually don't mind as much. Cats are a little bit more the problem there, but those animals get confused. Same with children who are orphaned out and stuff like that. So what I'm saying is that everything has its soul and purpose, and so when you start misusing cars, yourself, oneself, you start losing your soul force. You know, the integrity is compromised, and this harms the individual. So the analogue of the analogy of the car is a good one, and this would be the same with your friendships. You know, more friends is not necessarily a good thing. You know, it's good to have a lot of friends. It's great, but it's not necessarily a good thing. It can be. Sometimes one or two good friends is all you need. And as long as they're good, even if you do have many friends, you know, that you want to be careful with your choice of friends. You want to be, and you also want to be a good friend. You want to show that you've got loyalty as well by maintaining the friendships and things like that. And when you do, it's great when you can call a friend that you've known for 20 years and you still enjoy talking to each other. You know, when they call, there's excitement. You know, oh, great to hear from you. And stuff like that. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's gaps in the friendships because, you know, things happen. It doesn't mean that that person's gone forever. It just means that, you know, as we march on, right? As we march on in our lives, things come in and they change the course a little bit, and your priorities change, and people have families, you know, and things change, you know. But everyone is, I think, sometimes I think that not everyone changes. Oh, they're probably just the same. Like, they're changing, and they're also the same person that I can pick up the phone call and talk to them, and it's like we left off where we were 10 years ago.
Gotcha. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. Well, I look different from one day to another, you know. Every video I do, I look at myself and just to see, you know, how I'm looking. And some I look dreadful, you know. And then others I think, well, okay, that's good. I'm looking reasonably healthy, depending on how I sleep. I'm very much like that. But I've also got people that give me feedback, like my sister back in Australia. You know, the other day she wrote to me, and she said, "Oh, I'm worried about you. You look dreadful. What's going on? You know, are you all right? Oh, see that?
Yeah,
Jet?
It comes right over.
Whoa." So yeah, she gives me good feedback, and
I find that interesting though, because, you know, a lot of people will say, you look great. You look terrible. You look great. It's like, what a subjective world we live in.
I know. It is.
Even on someone commenting on how you look.
Yep.
Like, one person will say one thing. It's the same thing with being like an actor and getting reviewed for something. When you're put in the spotlight, it's just this broad stroke. But what I like about what syncretism is, it's direct knowledge. There's no like opinion on anything. It just is. I think that's why so many people are fascinated by syncretism, and it's because it's just like it's something like you already know. We're supposed to know this, and we don't know this, and that's why we're so fascinated.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So it is subjective, though.
Very subjective.
And I'm one of these people. I don't know why, if it's me, whether it's me or everyone's like this, but I find that daily I get people commenting on how I look. I don't know why this happened. You know, it's incredible. You know, and it goes up and down, up and down. So I've just got to accept it. You know, and I see it myself. You know, you might be the clothes the wrong colour clothes for the energy of the day. It might be the way you're feeling. For me, it's more like whether I sleep or not. You know?
Yeah.
Because of my sleep deprivation, especially when I'm nervous for a presentation. Usually the leading few days up to it, preparing and everything, and thinking, planning it, and thinking what might go wrong and what might not go wrong, and be good and what have you. And it sort of it plays in the back of your mind, and it's kind of weighs a little bit on you. And not that I don't excessively prepare, but I lose sleep. Generally 90% of the time I go to my presentations with a sleepless night under my belt, you know, and I'm just running on adrenal energy. So I've learned to live with that, but it's interesting how from one day to the next you can get people telling you you're looking really great, and then the next day, you're not looking so good. What's going on? Are you sick?
Yeah.
So, but as you said before, we change and yet we don't change. You see, there's a lot of change going on over the course of a life, and we do change. And I mean, I think of myself now at the age of 56, and I wish that I had this knowledge that I had when I was, say, 15.
Yeah.
Or any age, because I did things which I never would do again, like go to dentists when they tell you that your teeth are infected, so we have to give you a root canal. Whereas I've treated infected teeth with garlic, peppermint, clove oil, etc. And I've had a lot of success. Unfortunately though, I've done all the damage because I went and trusted dentists. And that's what you get. So the idea is to ascend when you're changing, you know, and improve, which we're doing.
Yeah.
That's what syncretism helps us to do. So before I leave you, I hope to inspire you to think about when I return on April, and the listeners as well, to pitch in some ideas as to where syncretism can go, because I'm on the road now, living a bohemian lifestyle, living out of a suitcase, and putting myself forward to advance syncretism in any which way possible. So if anyone's got suggestions out there, I want to start syncretism retreats, schools, academies, do presentations, well-organised ones, etc. So there you go. I'll be presenting more on this and calling out, and when we're ready we'll do a GoFundMe and get guys like you and I working and devoted to syncretism, you know, as like a job, hopefully. All right, Kevin. Well,
yeah.
syncretism, the world of syncretism is very indebted to you, man.
For sure, brother. Yeah, it's been a great week.
Very indebted, man.
Having you here.
You've rendered a great service.
Enjoy your time in Mexico, Santos.
Yeah.
Hope it's a good retreat for you again.
All right, brother.
All right, man.
You take care.
Good on ya.
Good on you, mate.
Good on ya, mate.
Yeah, this is it, Logan.
Yeah, this is the spot.
This is the spot.
I finished off the song, man. I got it.
Oh yeah, the Beverly Hills song?
Yeah. Now it's time to say goodbye to Jed and all his kin. And they would like to thank you all for kindly dropping in. You're all invited back next week to this locality to have a heap and helping of their hospitality.
Yeah. That's it.
Hillbilly. Beverly Hillbilly style, that is.